Hey everyone, welcome back to Life Mastery Unleashed. This is the first episode of our new series on mastering the art of persuasion, specifically tailored to real estate professionals. Over the next few weeks, we're going to dive deep into each of the 6 principles of influence as outlined in Dr. Robert Cialdini's book, The Psychology of Influence. Today, we're kicking off things with the first principle, consistency. Now, if you're in real estate, you know that the relationship with your buyers is a game of trust, reliability, and providing value. One of the most powerful tools you can use in this process is the principle of consistency. But what does that actually mean for you as a realtor? And more importantly, how can it help you close more deals effectively? Let's break it down. What is consistency? People want to stay consistent with their past decisions, actions, beliefs, etc. Once they make a commitment, whether it's verbal, written, or behavioral, people feel a natural desire to follow through to stay in line with their past choices. It's almost like muscle memory. You just do it because you already did it. So how does that apply to your work as a realtor? It's simple. Your clients, especially buyers, have already made commitments in different ways throughout their journey. Maybe they've told you they're interested in buying a home. Maybe they've shared their goals of financial security, or maybe they've even expressed their dissatisfaction with renting. The key to using consistency is getting your buyers to reaffirm these commitments and guiding them toward following through on their goals. Let's look at how you can practically apply this. When you're working with a buyer, you want to tap into what they've already told you. If they've already expressed that they're tired of renting or that they're looking to build wealth, you're halfway there. Now you just need to help them stay consistent with those statements. Here's a scenario you might encounter. You're talking with a buyer who's hesitant about moving forward with a home purchase. They've been renting for years, but they've also mentioned to you in passing that they feel like renting is a waste of money. Here's how you can use this principle of consistency in that particular situation. You say something like, Mr. Renter, when we first talked, you mentioned that one of your main frustrations with renting was that you feel like you're just throwing money away every month. That's something we hear from a lot of people, and it makes complete sense. Owning a home would give you the chance to build equity and actually see a return on that monthly payment. Would it make sense to take the next step and turn that frustration into an opportunity to start building wealth? Because I can tell you that your 10-year-older self will pat you on the back. I promise you. You're essentially reminding them of the commitment they've already made to the idea of financial growth. And by doing so, you're guiding them toward the next logical step. Getting a verbal commitment. Another powerful way to leverage consistency is by getting verbal commitments from your clients along the way. If you can get them to say out loud what their goals or intentions are, they are more likely to stay consistent with those statements. For example, early in your conversation with a buyer, you can ask, what are your long-term goals when it comes to housing? Are you looking for stability, financial growth, a place to call your own? Once they articulate those goals, you now have something to refer back to later on. You can bring it up when they start to waver or, back out. Mr. Renter, earlier you mentioned that one of your goals was financial security. That's exactly what homeownership provides you. Staying consistent with that goal, moving forward on a home purchase would align with what you've already told me you want for your future. Now, you can go with that one of two ways. Your 10-year-old self can pat you on the back or can be very ashamed because you didn't pull the trigger. You didn't have the courage to pull the trigger. Because remember, the spoils always go to the brave and the bold. They're the ones who get everything. This technique works because no one wants to contradict their own words. They don't want to backtrack on that. By reminding them of what they're committed to, you're gently pushing them towards taking action. Consistency with the buyer-broker agreement. Now, let's talk about how this ties into the BBA. This agreement makes a big shift in the real estate world, and it's going to be crucial for agents to get buyers on board with it. One of the best ways to get buyers to sign the BBA is to use the principle of consistency. If a buyer has already expressed trust in your expertise and has shown commitment to working with you, getting them to follow through with the BBA comes a lot easier. Here's an example. Mr. Buyer, over the past few weeks, we've been working closely together, and you've mentioned how important it is to you to have a trusted advisor throughout this process. The BBA simply formalizes that relationship so I can continue advocating for you and making sure we secure the best deal. Staying consistent with your goal or having expert guidance. Wouldn't you agree that signing the BBA ensures you get the best service possible? Look, by framing it in this way, you're positioning the BBA as a natural extension of the trust and commitment they've already shown you. Now, here's a few mistakes to avoid. A quick word of caution. Consistency works best when it's aligned with genuine client goals. It's not about manipulating or forcing someone into a decision that's not right for them. Instead, it's about guiding them towards decisions they've already shown interest in. You're just the Sherpa. You're the guide. You're the one taking them up that mountain. Don't try to use consistency on a buyer who's never expressed interest in homeownership or who's made it clear they're not ready. This principle works when you're building on commitments they've already made. Always act in the best interest of your client, and you'll find this tool to be highly effective. All right, here's some weekly action steps. So, this week, start using the principles of consistency in your conversations with buyer. You got to listen for commitments. You got to reaffirm their goals. You got to get verbal commitments and then tie consistency into the BBA. So when you're listening for commitments, pay close attention to what your clients are telling you. Write down their goals. Write down their frustrations. That way you can refer back to them in your conversation with them. Remember when you told me, Mr. Client, that you always feel fearful that your landlord is going to be selling your house and you're going to have to move and change schools? Things like that. And then when you reaffirm their goals, you want to find moments to remind them of what they told you. Okay? You gotta hone deep on that part of the process. In getting verbal commitments, you encourage buyers to vocalize their long-term goals. Once they've made that verbal commitment, it becomes way easier for them to stay on track. No one wants to go against their word. It's just not a natural thing to do. When you're introducing the BBA, frame it as a step that's consistent with their desire for expert guidance and the best possible outcomes. If you can start implementing these steps today, I promise you'll see a shift in the way your clients engage. Remember, people want to stay consistent with their actions and words, and when you help them do that, you're positioning yourself as a trusted advisor in their journey. All right, team, that's it for today's episode on Mastering Consistency. Remember, this is just the first of the 6 principles of persuasion, but it's a foundational one. When you can guide your buyers to stay consistent with their goals and commitments, you're helping them take meaningful steps toward homeownership and wealth building. Tune in next week when we dive in the principle of consensus and how you can use social proof to build trust and move your buyers forward. Until then, keep mastering your craft, keep showing up, and go make an impact. And remember, out-grind, outwork, out-hustle everyone.